Having the opportunity to be with a Rolls-Royce is truly an extraordinary experience.
It's one thing for someone to tell you about it. I want to help you experience it for yourself.
This is the latest generation of the Ghost, the Series 2, in the extended version with the long wheelbase. In fact, it measures more than 18 feet long, which is almost 7 inches longer than the standard version. Yet it looks very sleek because it follows some golden rules in the proportions between the wheels and the bodywork. The wheels, by the way, are 22 inches. The front end is very imposing thanks to the shapes and lines that start from the headlights, continue along the vertical part of the bumper, and then down to the lower section of the air intakes. And the grille, the Parthenon, resembles a Greek temple and is even backlit along the slats. And then there's the Spirit of Ecstasy, the ornament that can be made of metal but also gold, or why not even illuminated crystal. And in the event of impacts or theft attempts, it knows how to retract itself. From here you can appreciate the two-tone bodywork, which also features this other line, but then there can also be the coach line, that is another hand-painted line that runs along the entire side and then merges into the light clusters, which now have this more three-dimensional treatment. On the extended version of the Ghost, the rear door is even larger, and because of this, the system that helps you open it electronically is an especially useful and welcome feature. What's more, you can also close the door completely automatically simply by pressing and holding this single button located right here. Speaking of the door, this is where the legendary Rolls-Royce umbrella is housed, which I'll show you. It's customized with exactly the same colors as the bodywork and the interior panels, which here are finished in this way with this color configuration, but also this, let's say, pattern for the craftsmanship. Of course, you can choose any type, both in terms of shape and color. And here there's this metal door sill with the illuminated Ghost inscription and of course the legendary Rolls-Royce floor mats that you can really sink your fingers into. Getting on board is extremely comfortable. Look at how much space there is. And since the door is hinged the other way, well, there's no need to reach for the handle. I can just press this button to close it. With these other buttons, I can either open the tray table, which in this case is customized with real wood, or with this other one, activate the infotainment system, which is equipped with a Fire Stick so you can watch all streaming services like Netflix and more. I can control it using the provided remote or directly with this intuitive rotary dial. From there, I can choose to activate either the right screen or the left one. With these other buttons here, I can adjust the position of my seat, even moving it forward so I can lie down and maybe fully enjoy this starry sky, which is a classic feature of Rolls-Royce. It's an option that costs about $23,000, allowing you to have stars whose brightness you can adjust. Even see shooting stars passing here and there, and during the configuration phase, you can choose a constellation that might be meaningful to you. Here in the luxurious rear cabin, there's a large, beautifully backlit vanity mirror. This 4-seat configuration offers a central console that is full of exquisite details. For example, you'll find a bottle of fine whiskey with 2 crystal glasses. And of course, these are also elegantly branded with the Rolls-Royce insignia. On the other side, there is a genuine refrigerated minibar with dedicated space to securely keep 2 champagne flutes and a bottle of champagne. You can then place these glasses into a dedicated cup holder. Here it is, which is designed so they stay perfectly secure even when the vehicle is in motion. Then, there are also more classic cup holders, traditional climate controls, heated seats, and a variety of charging ports for every conceivable need. All these features combined mean that traveling in the back of this vehicle truly feels like an exclusive first-class cabin. The front handle is also quite far to reach, but that's not a problem. There are buttons here on the center console to operate the doors in front as well, so they close automatically. And in this area as well, you will discover the same obsessive, perfect attention to every single detail when it comes to the selection of materials, the fittings, personal customizations, and the various configurations available. All of which, as you can see, feature that very same green and the exact same color tones that we previously saw in the back, and this even includes the wonderful wood grain pattern that we also saw on the tables. Then moving down here, we have the entire section dedicated to manually controlling the climate and temperature settings. From this point of view, Rolls-Royce interiors age, let's say, extremely well precisely because they are inspired by a classic concept of style and design, with syringe-style air vents and a screen that is well integrated into this central panel, which on this side can also be customized, maybe with stars, why not, or even backlit designs. The infotainment system is called Spirit. It's state-of-the-art and can be controlled both through this rotary dial as well as by touch. There are a ton of different features such as Spotify, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and much more. You can also control the Spirit of Ecstasy, which you might want to retract, for example, or set to move automatically when the car is locked, and so much more. On this side of the steering wheel, I have the multimedia controls, while on the other side there are the controls for the driver assistance systems. Here too, I want to point out the attention to detail in the stitching, the upholstery, and the way these two colors are combined. Here on the center tunnel, there's also some practical space, a double cup holder. And here I'll show you the key, which has the same color scheme as the rest of the interior. Here, a small storage compartment clearly lined with carpet. Underneath here, wireless charging for your phone, 2 USB-C ports, carpeting, lighting, and the padding of this leather is excellent. And then, a detail unique to the second generation of the Ghost is this element. An analog clock with a small illuminated Spirit of Ecstasy underneath. As for the instrument cluster, it's completely digital but minimal. You can't customize either the graphics or the colors, and this is only possible during the initial configuration. I also really like another feature that helps keep the car from feeling outdated. With this lever, I can select the gears, and with this one on the left, of course, the turn signals. However, I have to say, this plastic really doesn't convince me much. On this side instead, you have the lighting controls, also operated with an old-style lever, but I'd say at this point we can get going. It's genuinely hard to tell when the V12 engine under the hood is even running. That's how incredibly high the level of sound insulation is in this car. An insulation that in fact covers every single aspect, not just the audible sounds. For example, the suspension is electronic, adaptive, self-leveling, and described as planar because it's as if they make the car glide over the asphalt. This is also because they interact with a camera system that can read the road surface ahead of the car, and in this way, prepare each individual shock absorber independently to cancel out or best absorb any irregularities. And there's also a system that uses GPS to select the right gear when entering and exiting a curve. In this way, the car's stability is improved and overall the entire driving experience is enhanced. An 8-speed automatic transmission from ZF that shifts so smoothly it's almost imperceptible, making it really feel like you're driving a single-speed car. It is perfectly paired with the 6.75-liter V12 engine, which in this case delivers 563 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque, available already at 1,600 revolutions per minute. This means you can achieve incredible performance for this type of car, 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds, and a top speed of 155 miles per hour. I used the word incredible for a reason, because after all, we're talking about a car that weighs over 5,500 pounds. And yet, despite that weight, the throttle response is extremely prompt. And on top of that, if I want, I can also set the transmission to low mode, which causes it to shift gears earlier, making them feel even quicker. There isn't a true sport driving mode, but after all, this is a Rolls-Royce. It doesn't need to be sporty, it just needs to be simply perfect. And another detail that makes you realize that here we're speaking a completely different language in every respect is the fact that there isn't a tachometer, but rather an instrument that shows you how much power you have left as a percentage. The Ghost is built on the architecture of luxury platform, which is shared with other Rolls-Royce models, starting with the Phantom, the flagship.
a modular aluminum platform that allows it to have all-wheel drive as well as four-wheel steering. So, at low speeds, the rear axle steers in the opposite direction, increasing maneuverability. Of course, you have to keep in mind that this is a car that's 6.5 feet wide with a wheelbase of more than 11 feet. So in any case, tight spaces and maneuvering in general remain a bit of a weak point for it. On the other hand, at higher speeds, the rear wheels turn in phase, increasing stability and therefore also comfort. On board, the steering is extremely light, with a reduction ratio that only Rolls-Royce knows how to achieve, allowing you to have full control even with just one finger. And my experience could only end here in the back seats, where most customers of this Ghost Extended prefer to sit, even though the Ghost, it must be said, is one of those Rolls-Royce models that is also chosen by those who prefer to drive themselves and who have spent around $430,000 on this model, excluding options. For example, this bespoke audio system with 18 speakers and 1400 watts of power costs nearly $12,000, the same amount as the refrigerator I showed you, or for the dual infotainment system, while the ventilated and massaging seats cost about $9,500, and then the list goes on. The bespoke paint color, for example, starts at $17,500, and there's much, much more. So now it's your turn to get hands-on, and let me know in the comments down below what your honest opinion is of this Ghost, whether or not you would get one for yourself, and how you would personally choose to configure it.